What's good, everybody? It's Volume here, bringing you some power rankings for the attack divisions with a wonderful cast and crew. Really just a crew or cast. But I just want a disclaimer. I'm actually in the Delta division. I'm not in this division. So I've ranked all the teams with my unbiased perspective for the first time ever. So we'll get into that. But let's go into our crew. So we got Pluto, who's coming back from last season.
What's up? I'm back. Looking forward to, just razzing and some good old teams this season yet again.
Let's go. All right, we're also bringing back Pierre. He's come out of the grave after wrestling his children. He's back.
Yes, I've been summoned. I'm back. We had to run it back one more time, man. For old time's sake, this is going to be fun.
And then we have a new guest on the show. It's Elevated.
Yeah, I'm elevated. I am a WPF Attack mod, and yeah, we're good to rating teams.
Let's go. And we were supposed to have Tbug, but he decided that it was 5 a.m. So
Rest in peace.
maybe he'll join. You might get a surprise Tbug appearance in this, but we have to roll. We got 4 people together, and that's a lot. Anyway, let's get into the rankings, and we're gonna go into first team we ranked, or last place. It's mcnutt, and I'm gonna toss it to Pluto because I think he's very passionate about this team.
Okay, so here's my thing about mcnutt's team, right? You look at it, and it's like, it's got some cool stuff, like Zama, it's got Enam, Terra Enam, especially with Stellar, is like actually super cool. Well, Ogrepon, Wellspring, D-Knight. I love Overquill, and Donphan is great roll compression and Paldex. But the glaring issue that I see is that there is no resistance to Fairy, which is like one of the most spammable types in the game. And you'll kind of see a pattern with, like, not to spoil anything, but like spammable types getting kind of free reign over a couple teams. I think Regieleki without Terra is a bad mon, but that's just me and like half the community, and the other half think it's broken. So who really knows? But yeah, on my end, I just think that like lack of a fairy resist and the defensive core not really having recovery means that the team's gonna get chipped down really easily, like really quickly.
Yeah, so what does it do to an Ire Valiant here, in your opinion?
Donphan, like AV Donphan probably.
Yeah, fair.
Just in case it's special, and then if it's physical, you're Donphan and you should be okay. But you do that once, and then suddenly Donphan is like,
Your wall's gone.
yeah, exactly. It's at like 60%. You can do it like twice, and then it's like completely void.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, like, this team's got a lot of weaknesses, right? Like, if you look at the type chart on the slide, like, it's got not a lot of switch-ins to a lot of things. But I actually want to take a positive spin on it, which is I think like every team in this draft like has like something scary about it that could win games. So it's not like, even though like the supporting cast, which is going to be what we're probably rating most of the time, is not like super good. Like a Terra, an Amorous, and a Zemazanta Crown, and an Odrepron, and a Dragonite, those things can win games pretty easily. So I don't know if you guys feel similarly.
No, absolutely. I think his game plan is just looking at his 2 like spikes and rock setters, probably lead Donphan or Deontay, try to get those up, and then yeah, like you said, pick one of the 4 to win with, depending on the matchup, and figure it out from there. And then maybe take a hit with Donphan, sack something to get momentum, and win.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how much more there is to say about this team. It's just like, it feels kind of underwhelming. It's got this 4 strong offensive, not really anything after. Like, I don't feel like the mons after Overquill are like real mons. So
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's just like out of like maybe a belly bolt over like Regieleki would have been better because like you already had like the 128 speed tier.
His
Diane's
speed's
just like
great.
whatever. Houndoom is just like, I don't know why you draft Houndoom. I feel like you already had a good dark type. You didn't really need a fire type on this team. Yeah, I mean, and if you're going to get a fire type, you could have got something that actually like resisted fairy. So I can understand that perspective. For Katoon, if Masquerain was still on the board, I feel like Masquerain was always the better pick, considering it can also have like Quiver Dance sets. It can also stun Spore better. So it's just like there's like a lot of aspects this team could have been upgraded, but otherwise the top what 6 were like pretty good. It's just like the last few points, those
Yeah.
last what it was 7 like not like 20 points, 19 points, they could have been spent better towards something that actually like resist the fairy or like actually bring benefit to his team.
Yeah, and such is the life of the draft league player. You're trying to balance all these things. It's kind of hard to do, and we're all also like subjective opinions here, right? So this isn't like an objective ranking of like these are the best teams. Like you could do well in the season if you're a good coach. We'll see what happens. But I think this team has left a sour taste in our mouth. So let's go on to a sour fruit. It's lime coming in at 15.
Just before we move on from that PRs being subjective thing, I am a firm believer in the fact that whether you do well in PRs and whether you do well in the season are conversely like correlated. I got first in PRs once in my life, and it was probably up there for one of my worst seasons of all time. So I think the lower you are on this list, the better you're gonna do in the season.
Yeah, I got like rated like 14 last season, and I went like went 9th place this season. So
That's actually hilarious. The one time I got ranked 16th, I actually won the league that season. So
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man.
we're
That's
just
what I'm saying.
adding fuel to the fire.
We're simply missing something. It hasn't come together for us, but for you, it's there.
Exactly. All right, Lime.
This is a very lime team. I've seen lime
I
draft.
find this team interesting.
I've seen lime draft a few times. He's brought back the Terra Bundle, the Tinkaton, the Thunderous. I don't know if he's drafted Serena before, but I feel like I've seen him with Serena before. Just everything on this team screams lime to me, honestly, and I don't really know why. But I think he can make it work because these are definitely mons he's had before. But there are some issues, and I feel like a couple of you guys can see that.
Oh yes.
I kind of don't like Terra Iron Bundle on this. Granted I get the speed, but at the same time you always want to be tearing Iron Boulder for that late game because Iron Boulder is like one of those late game mods, and Iron Bundle is so like Iron Bundle is like broken with Terra, and like if you don't have that Terra option of Iron Bundle, I don't really see the point in it. I feel like there could have been like a Terra Thunderous because Terra Thunderous doesn't really need Terra as much. It's just like nice to have. And like when you have Iron Boulder on your team, it's just like you like want to dedicate that Terra to Boulder, making sure it wins that end game because it looks like your team is just setting up for like Samurai setting spikes, Tinkaton getting rocks, Serena keeping off the hazards just for Boulder in the end game to come in, click SD or like beat Bandit and just like tear rock and just kill everything in the end game. You don't really need Iron Bundle for that. I can see the appeal with it, seeing as the ice water coverage is like really good, but like other than that, the team is fine. It's just I'm not really too fond with that Terra Iron Bundle.
Yeah, I could at least like ask the question and prep, right? The opponent's gonna like wonder like who's he gonna Terra and try to prep, and ice is such a good offensive type, you have to at least respect it. But I agree with everything you said. I kinda don't like the speed. I know he has Thunderous for Prankster, which is gonna be great, but like no priority and yeah, just the bundle and the boulder that are fast. Because Entei doesn't get E-speed anymore, does it? Or does it still have it?
I believe it still does.
Okay.
It probably should. I mean, you also have Aqua Jet with Samurott and Sucker Punch, but that's like it.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of like the same issues that we had with mcnutt, just like a couple top heavy offensive. Well, I know that's the theme this season with the meta, but I don't know, just not enough for us, I guess, to rank this team higher.
Yeah. I think it is important to note that I think Terra Bundle did win last season. Because having an accurate water move is really nice. But I also agree that like you're definitely tearing Iron Boulder a lot because it's that kind of mon where you just want to get rid of its bad defensive typing. And Fundy also appreciates it with like having another stab besides electric moves. So I definitely agree that like Iron Bundle can look a little underwhelming with Terra, but I don't think it's something that can be underestimated because I think it comes in handy a lot.
Yeah, I think he's bouldering and bundling And that's kind of what my note on this team is like. They're gonna have to like carry this team because that's really all support from there. Like maybe a Thunderous can pop off. I don't really like the ending of this draft a lot. Like Serena Weezing Mudsdale, like it's fine, but it's not really inspiring to me. And I guess like Entei's kind of thrown on this team because it's here. I don't know. I don't feel like Entei has like the greatest purpose on this team. He also lacks a fighting type. So I guess like the breaking steals, he wanted something. But I don't know. Honestly, I just felt this team was somewhat uninspiring, and maybe Boulder and Bundle could take it away.
Yeah, I feel like
like
Entei.
essentially like pseudo.
Yeah, I can see that. And I don't know. I feel like Entei is like the throwaway wall breaker. Like that's the guy he's gonna try to just, spam Sacred Fire. He doesn't care if it gets killed. Maybe dent something, and then Bundle and Boulder can come in.
I can see that.
Just big damage bot right there.
The Sacred Fire, everything, burn, not scald.
Well, when everyone burns, people die. But I think we've got another guy. It's Gies. Guys, I don't know how to say his name, but that's how I'm rolling with it. We're in at 14.
These transitions are like 10 out of 10. Keep them up.
Yeah, we might just have to bro transitions.
I also have no idea how to pronounce that name, however.
Well, he can roast us in the comments. Just roast. Tell us how to pronounce your name. So.
I think it's Gies, honestly. It just looks like a Gies.
A Gies?
Yeah, something like that.
So, would you guys think of spammable types, right? Offensively, what are like the first top three types that come to mind? Spammable offensive types.
Fairy, Ghost, and Dark.
Fairy, Ghost, and Dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock is usually pretty spammable. Like a lot of people don't.
Yeah, that too.
For me, it's probably Flying, Ghost, and Fairy for most spammable. Just because like flying hits so many things, and honestly, all you really need to complement it is like ground, and you've checked all your bases. This team's flying resist, that's not Terra, mind you, is a Pikachu, which I'm not sure if that's going to be eating the bleak wind storms or anything like that. Also, Ogerpon can only Terra into grass, so it doesn't really help with that either.
Yeah,
I don't want to like put my faith in those. Sort of because it's just like the Terra Shell. I that's the closest thing you get. So
I ranked this team last. I had it 16th. I don't really like it. First of all, we talked about this last season, but I think Valiant is still tricking people. Still running around. I still don't think it's doing a ton. Like it's not a bad mod, right? But like I don't know. I'm not a big fan. And I think he doesn't really have like something super strong. Like it's not. I'm gonna use this a lot. It's not like inspiring to me. It doesn't. I don't see how this team is supposed to like pull it together. Like you got the Valiant, Deoxys Speed, and like Terra Manaphy and Terra Ogerpon. Like those guys can win games. But then like you really don't have that many mods after like Crocodile. You have fucking Arbok, which I wanted to use Arbok, but I don't think it's super good. Spidops, sure, and a Pikachu. Pikachu's probably one of the best value 1-point mods, but like Pluto said, it can't just be your flying resist. Like it's not gonna pull together some holes in your team. It's gonna be like, oh, this is kind of a neat bring. I think it's relatively underwhelming, and it may depend on like how well he uses Deoxys Speed and Terrapagos to provide utility for his carry mons, but I don't really like it.
Yeah, you guys might have to. Good.
No, I was gonna say like Pikachu versus a Terra Torrentine is not winning any time.
Yeah.
No. You guys might have to fill me in on Ogerpon, what it does, but like this might be the weakest offensive team
Don't mind
in the rankings.
That I'm sorry.
Ogerpon is interesting because like Heart Flame, all the types it tears into its own type. So Heart Flame tears into fire, Wellspring tears into water, Ogerpon tears into grass, and Cornerstone tears into rock. And like the interesting is about it, you can't hold an item except for this Ogerpon. This Ogerpon can actually hold an item, but it can't really hit steel types outside of like knockoff. It can synthesis, it has encore, it has spikes, it has all these different utilities, it has U-turn, but it's not really breaking the steals. but I guess that's why you have like Iron Valiant on this team for it. So that's like the best I can think of it. But it's
Yeah,
pretty weak offense.
that's what I mean. So other than Valiant, like you gotta kind of boost to hit stuff. This is pretty weak, to be fair, from what we've seen.
Yeah, I just can't. It's just sort of uninspiring. I use Terra Manaphy. I went 1-7 with it. Maybe I'm just bad. Perhaps it's true, but I don't think it's like the most inspiring Terra user. Like it seems like it's gonna like cool pop off, and it probably will win at least one game for him this season. But I don't know what other games he's winning. So, but maybe he'll find some cool ways, some like under the surface, kind of slick ways to get into it. Because we got Slick at number 13, and he's bringing it up with a Terra King Gambit, which I don't know. I think you guys rated this team pretty low. I like Terra King. I think Terra Gambit pretty fucking scary, and he's got it may be like a not that many on team, but I think that it has the potential to like just be super annoying. It's like an OU team. We're just going in and hoping Gambit wins.
That sounds about like OU, yeah. You know what's slick is that logo. Honestly.
The logo is sick. Yeah, slick, sick. It's cool all around.
Absolutely. Terra Gambit is definitely scary. Tusk is very scary. Gudra is very bulky. I think this team has a lot of like moving pieces that all fill a role that isn't just their typing. It's a lot of like Pokemon that deal really strong hits or can take really strong hits plus webs. And I mean that works because what any Gambit team's goal is to kill as many Pokemon on the other side as possible at the cost of everything on your side. And then you bring in King Gambit and pick off whatever's left. And I think the webs, like Great and Infernape can do that very well.
Yeah, I love Ape. And I think it's gonna be super hard to prep for this team because the Terra Mew, right? Like, what are you prepping for? Which is gonna be awesome for him. I guess I'm one of the guys who doesn't think King Gambit's broken because of the speed tier, but I mean, you guys know way more than me, so maybe
It's just sucker punches. It's just SD sucker punch.
I get that, but like you can just sub on it or just like I don't know. There's so many ways around that. I feel like priority.
It's got
I know it's
135 base attack, and it also gets an ability where like you're getting a lot of power from people dying on your team. So you're
Overlord. Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting for me personally because I like the Terra King Gambit because like this team is just like in general like really strong, really hard to prep for. Great Tusk is like super good. The most consistent mon is this tier period. King Gambit, that guy is just strong. Word and Wash, you got great pivots in like Quillfish setting up spikes. Gudra maybe doing a curse set, Dragon Tail, just Soul Vest, really bulky sets. And Fernape's an incredible Scarfer. Bombi's setting up the webs. The Drio might come like 1 or 2 games just for like the lulls. They shouldn't. He just has really good flexibility with this team. I probably would have ranked this like higher, but it's not a bad team at all. I like it. I like it.
Super good flexibility. I agree with you. Yeah, I like this team too. Priority's good, speed's good, setup potential's good. Yeah, I like it all.
Yeah,
Defensively.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. I was gonna say defensively, just no recovery, but I mean, you can play around that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys say like flexibility. They have Terra Mew, which is like the most flexible thing that has ever walked the earth. It lost recovery moves, unfortunately, but still, it's got such a wide move pool that like that thing is coming to every game and it's doing something every game.
Right, it's a nightmare to prep for. Like, even if you don't bring it, opponents are gonna be like, "What the fuck is this thing doing to me this week?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's kind of just like guessing what your team is weakest to and just hoping you prep for that form of Mew the best while also covering the other types just barely enough for you like not to lose.
Yeah, I just want to point out that. So first off, Elevated doesn't have rankings. He's just providing analysis. Tbug has rankings, but he's not here. But both Pluto and Pierre put Slick at 14, which is why he's down at 13. So I mean, I feel like we're taking a lot of the praises of this team, but like, what are the flaws?
Way to shame me there. Jesus, calling us
What are the
out.
flaws?
All
So the big flaw that stuck out to me is that there is no fairy resist. Here it says that it's Quillfish. It's actually Hisuian Quillfish.
Oh, it's a Hisuian Quillfish?
Yeah.
Oh, Sui.
Oh, okay. So
Okay, that makes
I beefed it on my when I was adjusting the teams. That's fun. For reference, guys, I did this last night, so like there might be some errors, and I apologize.
Yeah.
We forgive you.
So just Moonblast. He can't beat Moonblast is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's one of those like. The thing is, he has a Hisuian Gudra, and that's gonna switch into Moonblast just fine. But it's like things that have strong fairy moves and also coverage for Gudra that this team's gonna really struggle with. So like a Valiant, ironically enough.
Valiant gives a hell. Yeah.
We might just find the Valiant angle where Valiant dunks 45 points. So
It might just. I would say it's like, not really. It's just one of those teams where you're just like it can do a lot of things, but it's like if it gets a certain matchup, it might just like have to like really dedicate itself to like the Terra just to make sure it doesn't lose to that mon. It's just like I'm seeing like if Gambit and Mute doesn't really like hold up to like the Valiants, it doesn't really hold up to like the say like a Torn T, because Torn T can get really shiced into this team, especially like with offensive Terra, because I know Rotom Wash can't hold on to. Actually Rotom Wash got Pain Split back, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
That's another plus. It's just it really depends on what mon is this team's facing, because it does well against most like the higher point mons. It's just like Iron Valiant just being like the one mon that could just literally just kill this team off impact.
yeah, I do have to say like Terra Mew is probably like the best. Like I'm gonna counter your bullshit. Like it's like the Terra counter mon. You know, like I'm throwing this at whatever Terra mon you have, and that's what I'm shutting down with this Mew. So I feel like that's what the Mew is going to do a lot. But other than that, I kind of say this is a vanilla OU team. But let's go to a vanilla Gen 1 Mon. It's VanillaSnorlax coming in at 12th.
Dude, Snorlax was OU. Like, super hard for the first two gens, so that's amazing.
I mean, I like this team. Like, it can turn. I feel like Palafin... Like, it has a lot of stuff to wear down stuff for, like, Palafin and Annihilate to, like, just win the game, basically. Like, you wear these things down. Like, I've used these two in combo before. They're really good. They're so good. So.
What are your thoughts on Gray Primeape, guys? Because I think that thing should not be allowed to Terra. But it's too late now, and Snorlax has it, and we've all just got to deal with the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
I kind of have a few gripes. Honestly, it's mainly the aspect of like your hazards, because like your hazards is Annihilate, which probably doesn't want to run Stealth Rock every week, and your other hazard setter is Fortress, which is like it's Fortress. Your Spikes is also Fortress. Your hazard game is not really that good. It's mainly like you're trying to play like pivot offense, but then it's just like if you don't break early enough, this team kind of just falls apart. Mid to late game. The Annihilate is cool. The Annihilate can win games. Palafin. There's no explanation needed for that. It's just like I feel like this team can really fall flat at a moment's notice during a game if the opponent has the right prep.
I mean, it's got so much chip. I just feel like it's gonna be pivoting around, breaking things down, and the next thing you know, Annihilate's taking like 5 hits and just a like 250 power Rage Fist or whatever. And
yeah.
also
I'm trying to
like
see how slow Annihilate can get under Trick Room, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
It's great.
It can. It's not like ridiculously slow. It's got 90 speed, but like it can go slow for like getting some fast threats if he's facing some fast teams. Which, to be fair, his team kind of doesn't have like the fastest stuff. It's like Cinderace is their fast mon. There's nothing in between it and Palafin and Zapdos, and like really Zapdos is some running speed, and I don't even know if Palafin's running speed either. So like you don't really have that much speed on this team. So you're hoping that Trick Room can carry. And just a note about the Terra Annihilate. So we banned here Terra Regieleki, which some of you might recall I used last season, and it got nerfed. It got nerfed, and I still had to use it because there wasn't anything to replace it. I'm gonna rant now, and and we banned that thing from tearing for some reason. Because now nerfed and now it's too OP because it can bolt beam. But Terra Annihilate, which did much better last season, at least in attack, across the whole season, that thing like popped off and it's still allowed. Like this thing can win games super easily with this Terra.
Oh yeah,
agreed.
Honestly, I kind of have like this thought about like Annihilate. It was mainly just hyped around. It's still like a really really good Terramon. It's just the hype around it died now that there's like DLC 2, just all these other mons. Eventually it'll get its attention back up there. But like for right now, I feel like it's pretty low on people's radar. And Bolt Beam was just like very annoying to deal with because like if it subs, it just does a lot of things that's like really annoying with that secondary Terra type, as opposed to Annihilate, which is just kind of like it's either scarfing, gambiting, poking up. It can do Annihilate can do a lot of things, just like really on the back burner on everybody's mind right now.
Brave Annihilate can get as slow as Vaporeon, so 65. Does Hat have momentum if it says Trek Room or no? Does it get teleport or something?
That's Healing Wish.
It just murders itself to get out.
Sound bad.
Yeah, I like the ability to like go fast on this team with like Palafin and Cinderace, and you get priority and stuff. But then you can also like flip the script and go slow too with Hat and Ursaluna and Annihilate. So I do like that. And you guys touched on it earlier with like the Volt turn. Like I think you just chip, get whatever you think is going to win the game in and win. I would say though it doesn't. I mean, this is going to sound weird with Terra Annihilate right there, but like it doesn't have that like huge breaker like we've seen like Boulder and Valiant already on a few teams.
Have you been introduced to Palafin? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think Palafin is potentially one of the best breakers in the format. So,
I like Ursa's a really good breaker.
Yeah, and also Ursaluna, that's true. Like,
yeah, no, I know. What is your attack stat right for Palafin, or what's the?
Oh, because Palafin has an ability 0 to hero, so this only has base Palafin. I could have put like Palafin Hero in because Palafin Hero, that thing has like a monster attack stat. But the problem with Palafin is that you have to like lead it and then switch it out for it to get
exactly.
So it did a little bit of a slow start.
Exactly, you have to play around with it.
Well, this team is like pivot heavy is like it kind of works out actually. So
to just flip turn, get it in, get it out. Yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of slow teams and slow starts, we're gonna rhyme that with Jode. It's a Toad. He's here, and he's not got a very slow team. He's got a Electro Hisui at 150 base speed, a Darkrai at 125, a Sneasler at 120, a Mousehold at 111. He's got some fast mods, but what do you guys think?
What is that Hisuian Avalugg? I've never seen that.
I think that is a heck of a ground weakness.
Wait, was Sneasler not allowed to tear?
I think it can. He just didn't pick it.
It shows Avalugg. Savage.
Well, I mean, like I think it's because it boosts the points of how much stuff costs, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, yeah, but like you had those extra slots. I don't think you needed those extra slots. I think you could just like dedicate it to like Sneasler Terra, because like.
There's no terrain for it, so I don't think it'll perform the same way that it did on my team last season, where it was like get the Unburden boost and click Sword Stance while tearing so that your defensive typing changes, and then click the button until your opponent is no longer on the field. I think this time around, Sneasler on its own has its perks. I think Empoleon is incredible.
I fucking love Empoleon. So good.
The issue is that Lando is the only ground resist or ground immunity. So anything with like ground and ice coverage just has free reign into this team, and there's not really anything that can be done about it besides like charge a bug or like a Terra Avalugg that tears into a type that is like neutral to one and resists the other, but that only works if it's physical. So if it's like a special, like say it's a Nidoking kind of situation. Like obviously I know Nidoking's not in Paldex, but if there's something that can kind of do that kind of thing, I don't know what this team does to stop it. I guess Florges.
Was Mammoth drafted?
I don't know if it's in Paldex.
It isn't. I'm not sure.
I feel like it is. Part of me thinks it is.
Well, another point I want to add though is like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Apollyon doesn't get defog, right? Which means his only hazard removal is Avalon Kasui, which I really don't have any faith in. Any faith in at all. He's a Terry mod. I don't know what it does. Maybe I'm just juiced. So could you guys elaborate on like why he might have tarried this mod, why it might be a good rabbit spinner, or am I right?
I'm out. I have no idea.
It's got
I've seen people tear Avalug just to like be able to have consistent spinner, so I can see it, but it's not the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's got really big stats. That's kind of the big draw, is that it has really, really good physical defense and really good physical bulk, and has recovery and stealth rock and spin and ice offensive typing. And you can change its defensive typing, which will generally do like ground maybe, to provide yourself with that Mamoswine stab combo. It's still an Avalug. Don't let it get touched on the special side or it is going to collapse. But on the physical side, a Terra Avalug can kind of do what we were talking about Mew earlier and just kind of resist whatever you need it to resist for the given matchup. And I think that's very valuable. I just don't know if it's valuable over like Terra Lando or Sneasler or something like that.
I mean, counterpoint. Isn't Kumo eating Terra every game, by the way? Like, isn't this thing like it's the ace of the squad, it's Kumo. You got a Darkrai on this team, but I don't think Darkrai is like one-man show kind of thing. It's like, it can clean, but like, in my mind, the center stage, it's this Kumo. Can he get this Kumo in? He also has Kumo and Sneasler, so I guess he's trying to tear out the fighting. Like, I don't really know. I'm not really a super big fan of the double fighting, and I'm not really, I don't really understand that. But I think Kumo Terra is pretty damn scary, and I think that's what he should be playing towards.
I think to your point, he's going to Como or Terra Como into something, not necessarily fighting. Maybe that's why I Sneasler just in case to break. What is how they nerf Klinger Soul Blaze again? Does it still lose like a third of its health and boost all of its stats, or?
Yeah, it's take a third of your health and get an Omni boost out of it.
Okay.
I think
it works with throat spray too. Still.
What's up? Yeah,
it works with throat spray.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll probably be Terra normal just for big boom bursts. Though that's speculation.
Oh yeah, that's I forgot I got boom burst.
Bulky ghosts are kind of something that this team can't deal with, besides like Darkrai obviously, but like if it's bulky enough to take Darkrai hits, then it's just kind of blanking Como.
I'm sorry to do this, but what's your phantom bulky ghost type here? Like, what is a bulky ghost type? A Terramon?
Dusclops, I guess. I mean, Dusclops is not bad into this team. It's just there's a Darkrai.
I think Darkrai is pretty good at like neutralizing the ghost threat.
Typhlosion
is the game. I refuse to believe it.
I mean, Typhlosion might pop off. But I don't know. I think the ace of the hole for this team is his Terra Combo. You've got a Darkrai. That might also be an ace. But let's talk about aces. Let's go to aces 3-2-3-2. But the Spectre and Blaziken team.
32 aces. Oh my god.
There's a ghost.
It's a pretty high.
What is that mon in the middle?
Pheasant Dippity?
Yeah, you needed to explain that mon to me. Like I'm 5, please.
It's a poison fairy type that has like poison touch, but like way better. It's like toxic touch, and also it's any move, not just contact moves.
It's Weezing Galarba offensive.
That sounds fun, interesting.
I mean, I don't think it's that offensive, but like it's a nice pivot mon. So you just gotta like bring it in to take hits. And it can poison them. And honestly, since poisoning is kind of like a weak point in this game, like this is like it's hard to do stuff in Paldea decks. It's pretty valuable. So to break down like walls.
I mean, SD, Gunk Shot, Double Kick, Technician. Yeah, don't sleep. Trust. This team is interesting. It's like there's a bunch of like sweepers, but it's like the breaker here is just there's no breaker here. That's like my main issue. Unless you're like running Spectrier, like Bandit Blaziken, but it's like it's whatever. Honestly, it's still a decent team. It just doesn't really wow me, especially with, like you have like I don't know about Terran or Raquinid. I mean, Terra Glasscourt could have been better. I don't know. It's just it doesn't really wow me.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had Speed Boost Blaziken available, but that thing hits like a truck, doesn't it?
I'm about to find
120,
out
I
in
guess.
Delta. I'm using it in Delta. I'm about to find out.
Yeah, it definitely does, because I think I have had Speed Boost Blaziken before. In MBTL one season, we unbanned it in exchange for it not being able to concurrently run speed boost and attack boosting moves, and it was still the best mon on like the board. So having it completely freed is wild.
Yeah, because what boosting does it get SD or what's it get?
It does get SD.
Yes, SD.
Yeah, what the
I feel like it's a steal for 16 points. And I think Pluto and I talked about this last season, but like the Ghost Fighting Cores, like Spectre or Blaziken, that's the Ghost Fighting Core right there.
Bulky Dark with Mandibuzz is like my go-to whenever I think of like a ghost fighting core. It's like you grab a ghost, you grab a fighting, and then you grab Bulky Dark to balance them out, and he's got all of those.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, to Elevated's point, like, what's the breaker on this team? Like, it's got good defense. I feel like it can sustain a while. You got this. I feel like just Jirachi kind of has to be defensive in my eyes. Like, you want to wish Jirachi to sustain your Pokemon. I'm not really sure on the sustainability of like a Gliscor and a Vesindipity. Maybe I assume Mandibuzz still gets released. My hands are up, guys. But I wanna point out that I rate this team kind of low because like I had this team high. And then I was like, because I like, Blaziken and Spectrier, that's like such a good combination. And then I was like, what the fuck is breaking for these mons? Like, I guess Blaziken's breaking for Spectrier, and that's what you're going for, and that's it? Like, I'm not really sure. But I do know that both Pierre and Pluto, I'm calling you out again, you guys put this team at number 6. It's like 4 points lower than that. Well, like... Am I juiced for thinking that this lack of breaking power is going to make it like a weaker team, or do you guys think it's gonna pop off with just this ghost fighting core?
I like the options. I mean, I guess like you said, now that you say that, at face value, there's no breaking power, but like Spectre can boost, Blaziken can boost. You run SD Glassdoor if you wanted to. Jirachi can boost. Superior can boost. Like any of those mons can kind of maybe not beat you, but do some damage. Take out a few of your team if you let them. I really like the creativity, and you touched on it earlier, the Mandibuzz, I feel like just ties the whole team together, and Glassdoor, like really good, solid defensive pivots. The main thing there being pivot, like you can get it in and then switch out to what you need to change the momentum for you, is what I liked.
All right.
Pluto, if you want to add anything to that, or...
Maybe Pluto's
Noted.
out of action
Okay.
for a moment.
All right,
but,
noted. Yes. No, I like the team.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good team. I think I might have rated it dead 10th, which is where it is. And that's for, I guess I haven't said what Tbug's rated people. You'll see all the rankings at the end, by the way, like all the rankings on the last slide. But Tbug ranked this 12th. So I guess he was also low on it. I imagine for similar reasons to me, which is like the breaking power. But I don't know. Maybe this team will like take center stage. It will take the reins here with this Blaziken Spectre. Let's go into a calmer, more wise person, perhaps. Let's move on to Sage, which Terra Necrozma, which I asked because I'm not really sure. Is Necrozma Thanos?
I'm always like 2 seconds too late because I was gonna add something to the last one. Sorry, my mic.
Oh, we can backpedal.
I think, from my perspective, this team is getting hard carried by Speed Boost Blaziken because it's just so overwhelming that you don't really need like too much outside of that to really put on a lot of pressure, because it in and of itself just clicks the button and deletes teams. And Spectre kind of does that, but like to a lesser extent because of being resisted by things. That's all. We can go back to Sage.
Okay. Now that we got the Sage's advice of Pluto, we can go back to the Sage, the coach, and see if Necrozma and Ment will carry this team to victory. What do you guys think?
Logo makes me so uncomfortable every time I see it.
I love it personally. It's my favorite.
I don't like the way he's looking at me. Terra Necrozma and Terra Ments are freaky though. Like they're so good. Like they sum up everything that you could possibly want from your Terra. Like one and one that can change its type and works well with its ability being Prism Armor. So like you can make it like a Terra Electric, and it's essentially like it takes almost
No weakness
from its weakness, and then suddenly it's like really hard to manage. And they both have Dragon Dance, and Necrozma has Cosmic Power and like other means of going. Like imagine Terra Poison, Cosmic Power, Necrozma. Like you can't even Toxic it.
Yeah.
Those are scary Terra caps, and Greninja is very good with Battle Bond. People were like kind of like on the fence as to whether this Battle Bond is better or worse. Do you guys have an opinion on that before?
Oh yeah, I think it's very good. I mean, it's kind of like Palafin. You have to slow burn it a little bit, but I think it's incredible.
And just to point out for the viewers, I apparently didn't register Battle Bond as an ability on the sheet that I was using, so Greninja has Battle Bond. It can use Battle Bond. The sheet is wrong.
Does it get protein too? Or
yeah, it gets Protean and
yeah, that's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
U-turn, you can Bandit specs it, yeah, kill something, and now you're boosted. Yeah, that's really good.
Yep.
And then the core too, like the Clefable and the Tran, I think is like so good.
The Fable Tran
With the
Claude,
Mets.
that's like double unaware. You aren't beholden to running unaware Clef just to like counter Sweeper, because you can run
Right.
unaware Claude and Magic Guard Clef.
Yeah, right.
I feel like the low tier.
I like to see minus Ice too.
Ooh, sorry.
Minus Ice Cube. What do you got against Ice Cube, man?
It's just 2 points. I feel like you could have upgraded something. I looked at the team in general. It's just like two points could have gone into something, but at this, like, I feel like it could have been a Masquerade or something. Just get like webs, because this team could like use webs for like Necrozma. Otherwise, this team is good though. I actually have no complaints with this team. I probably would have ranked it like 5, honestly, because I kind of just really like it.
Well, I mean, that's where Pluto and Pierre ranked this team at. Pluto ranked it 4, Pierre ranked it 5. But maybe I'm juiced here, so I'm going to go for a juiced take here. I ranked this team 14. And maybe that's because I didn't realize if Necrozma was Thanos or not. But I thought this team kind of lacked some synergy. I don't know. I guess you guys have kind of poked me already before I could even like put up my shield trying to defend my opinion, because I feel like it's pretty hard to defend where I put this team. But I'll try. I don't know. Necrozma meant like solid Terra, but like I just didn't feel like this team like came together for me. And I don't know, the speed tier, like you don't have like Necrozma's at 79, Salamence is at 100. What's in between it? Absolutely nothing. So Mons at that range really will have free reign what they want to do with their ability or nature. And I don't know. I mean, that could make a difference maker in like a lot of these calcs. And I feel like a lot of these, like the top 3 are like cool, like sweepers, and then maybe they can be breakers, but like I'm not sure if they can be breakers. And then you just got Terrakion as the other mon to like break, and maybe you can run an offensive Heatran and just like backlog on the fact that you have like Clefable and Clodsire in the back. Like I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't think this team was super inspiring, but maybe I don't realize that Necrozma was going to put up like 50 points and like easily in a game. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Mewtwo. I mean, you don't know what it's going to do. Tough to prep for, too. You got to take that into consideration. I really like this team.
I think my big thing is, again, it's all coming down to the Terra caps for a lot of these like middle picks. Nick, in my opinion, one of the only things that's really holding Necrozma back is its typing. So being able to just change it from Psychic to something else could be huge for it. And you can change what that typing is based on the matchup. You can change it into whatever you need. Like, it can be a Steel type if you want it to just be like utility. Or you can Terra it, and I don't believe it gets Terra Blast, but it has really good coverage. So it doesn't really need it either.
Well, damn. Maybe Necrozma comes in and snaps the other team like a branch in half, or perhaps snaps it into Twigs even, because we got Twigs at 8. And I'm gonna have to shout this guy out for Crash Gang. And yeah, he's got like an interesting team here with the Blood Moon Goldengo Weavile core with the Terra Thunderous and Terra Arcanine Hisui. I'd like to know what you guys think of it.
I probably would have put this team at like 15.
Low is my first thought.
I'm not really fond of this team. It has a lot of like good aspects, but it's like it's just something. Just how it's constructed doesn't feel right to me. It feels like okay. Let me put this in perspective. Thunder's pivots. Azov pivots. Sylveon baton pass. I guess there's no really way for this team to like sustain momentum to really get in its breakers like Ursaluna Blood Moon. Its removal is Tentacruel, and that's really it. And it's like Tentacruel is a good remover. It's a good roll compression with like Rapid Spin, a Grounded Poison, a Water. But at the same time, it kind of just like feels isolated in a way. It's like not really like. I guess the Tentacruel also has Flip Turn, so that is another pivot option. It just kind of just like feels like separated between his breakers because you can't really bring Arcanine and Hisui in, and there's like no rocks for Arcanine and Hisui to really abuse because like it's kind of like the rocker outside of like Azelf. Chestnut Spikes is not bad, but like this team, it kind of just feels like out of place for me personally.
Yeah, Chestnut's probably setting the spikes. Is Trick Room setting Azel for Ursaluna interesting to you guys? That's gonna be tricky, I feel like.
You know what's funny? I was actually looking at it and I was like, they got kind of like a TR angle here because their speed's not great, but they have Blood Moon, and I always associate Blood Moon with Trick Room. And you saying that has opened my eyes to the fact that their setter is fast, which is not good. I think this is one of those like we mentioned it like Limes last season, which I don't know if it held up, like the criticism held up, but it's a lot of good mons that don't work well together. Like it's a bunch of mons that are like on the same team that don't synergize.
Yeah,
What I'm saying.
I mean, I feel like it kind of feels like it doesn't have synergy, but like I don't know, man. We're breaking, then we're snowflaking with the Weavile cleanup. Like I don't know. I think it's got a lot of power to it, and I think that's all you really need. If you're just clicking mon after mon's dropping, and then you got a Weavile in the back that sweeps, or you can like Azelf is a pretty versatile mon. It can like trick Rim up and kill itself, I think. Or at least if it can't kill itself, it'll U-turn out at the end to bring in something else. So I think it has a lot of options for that. I think we all actually rank this team pretty middling. I mean, remember, Elevated doesn't have a ranking, so maybe it'd be lower if we had elevated rankings. But we got Pluto at 8, and then Pierre and I put it at 9. And actually, it's a little higher because Tbug placed it at 5, but he's not here. So I apologize if it seems like we're ranking like some teams that are lower that like we have a higher opinion of them generally because it's like we're missing one person who did the ranking, so that skews it. And I think Pierre and Pluto's rankings tend to be pretty similar, and I tend to be like somewhat aligned with Tbug. So that's where we're that's our compass here. But I don't know. I like this team. I feel like it can break. It's got power, and that's what I look for. I mean, I don't know if you really want Tentacruel to be your crucial spinner, but I'm kind of coping because that's my crucial spinner in Delta. And it's really got like no super glaring weaknesses type-wise. Like it's a nice, like, kind of like balanced team in that sense. And I don't know if it really has like the greatest like defensive options, but doesn't really need it. And it can always like something's low. We got a Sylveon in the back. It can wish something up. Like things appreciate that, like Blood Moon.
Yeah. No, for
sure. Holds true. Sorry, I don't know if it still holds true, but I know pre-DLC I was like, I was always like told by people like, oh, Sylveon's bad now because it lost Mystical Fire, but like. At the start of the gen, there was a free draft in 88 goals that you just like drafted whatever 8 mons you wanted from all of the Pokemon that were in Scarlet and Violet at the time, and then you just play against everyone else whenever you want. And I drafted Sylveon because it had a really, really good matchup against the meta. And it was my kill leader for that. And it's crazy. And Destiny had it last season at the beginning of the season. We were literally talking like in chat and we were like, yeah, people are clowning on Sylveon, but like it's a threat. And then Destiny won. So like Sylveon is not to be like undervalued here. Because that thing can hold teams together like nobody's business.
I mean, do we got Blood Moon thoughts? Do you think this mon is the GOAT? I mean, if you look at his point values, by the way, like, he didn't buy that many things that are expensive. He kind of went for, like, 16, 15, 15 points. And we had stuff upwards of 19 on the board. So, I know Twigs wasn't even that deep into the draft, like, that far down. I think he was 6th pick. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about that philosophy? Do you think Blood Moon is, like, a viable first pick? Is that good to ignore potential other things on the board?
I think that you don't need to think if you draft Blood Moon round 1, because like that thing's gonna think for you.
That thing's gonna think for you? Okay.
Click the moon button.
Click the moon button.
Me with Balloon, it's like it's interesting. It's not something I'd rate very highly without Terra, but it's still like it's still Blood Moon at the end of the day. So it's kind of just like, oh god, this thing's gonna like kill everything regardless. So it's a good R1 one, but I probably if it was like 15th pick, I'd probably pick it if there's nothing else on the board. But
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to say Blood Moon to the moon, and let's go to space, because we got Pluto coming in at 7th here, and he's here. Honestly, I don't know if we let Pluto try to convince us of his team first, so actually, I'll say Pluto speak last. We're going to all come at you.
Okay, sounds good.
yeah,
All right, go for it.
Am I
she is
going?
a fraud.
Well, I want to hear Elevated's take, because Elevated doesn't have a ranking, so Elevated, do take it away on Pluto's team if you have some opinions.
Start with complaints.
If you
Two
ever
complaints
had-
first.
If you ever talk to me about Chiyu, I will tell you right now, Chiyu has to be the most fraud Pokemon of all time. It's great. It's good at OU, but at the same time, that guy needs a lot of support. This team has a lot of good supporting Mons, but at the same time, it's still a Chiyu. And it's like, even if you build around it, most of the times the Mons around it are going to be carrying your team more so than Chiyu, because Chiyu is just one of those Mons you have to, oh, I have to prep for this Chiyu. It's like a Regieleki, it's like a Terralegi, like, oh, I have to prep for this. It's not going to kill me immediately, but it's like, I still have to prep for it just in case it does something, and it's just one of those monsters. I'm big on Iron Hands. Corvin I'm not so big on. Current Block at round 5 is like really good. Slowking's a good pivot. Gengar, I love Gengar as a Pokemon. I don't really know about it as a competitive standpoint, but it's like it's okay to me. Spreading hazards, all of that. Doterra is Terra does not pivot. Cyclozar is the one that has removal. Shell Smash is cool. Volbeat priority. Encore T-Wave is nice. Another Cricketune. So I could see why Pluto like the other guy with the Cricketune. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. It's just kind of like it's a lot of good supporting pieces. It's just I think Chio's a fraud personally.
Yeah, regarding Cricketune, I think he's gonna be like my MVP for the season because I didn't even know I had a Cricketune.
Yeah. Let me get on that. I was about to say. So I messed up the copy pasting because Pluto only has 9 mons on his team, I think. I think this is from mcnutt is right next to them, so I just didn't copy paste it well, and the point values are wrong on this. So he doesn't have a Cricketune, and the point values are off on the chat on the doc.
I thought it was funny. Just refer to Cricketune.
MVP Cricketune.
Absolutely. He's
Two Cricketoons and 16 man. I wonder.
Yeah. Cricketune, actually, we've given everyone the opportunity to draft the 1-point Cricketune. So there's 16 of him in the league.
Yeah, I would take it personally.
All right, so I'm gonna give Pluto some props if that's all right with everyone. So on the Chiyu subject, he's got a Cyclozar with that. Wait, is Shedtail banned actually? Before I say something stupid.
Nope, Shedtail is not banned.
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
recently
So
informed of
my
this
point
myself.
stands. All right, I'm not a retard. So he can Shedtail into Chiyu and give it a free go at something. I think that's scary. I just now realized that Slowking gets Trick Room too for his Iron Hands and the Chilling Rain momentum for Kyurem Black. So the momentum defensive pivots on this team is very good to get, one of his 3 breakers in, or 4 Gengar there too. Yeah, I think this team's very balanced offensively and defensively. Maybe a hair slow, but again, with the Trick Room and the Shed Tail shenanigans, like kind of doesn't matter. And then he's got Volbeat if he needs the prankster or something, T-Wave or get something slowed down or whatever. So yeah, I really like this team.
I guess I'll go next. I think I ranked Pluto the highest, but I kind of had him low going into today. But then I was in a call with Pluto for an hour before we actually started. So I might have been a little converted. And the main conversion was I realized that Cyclozar could have Shed Tail, and that really is a difference maker for me on this team. I think I put this team at 5th as a result of that. And
you were not immune to propaganda.
I'm not immune to propaganda, but I kind of liked it already. But I just thought Cyclozar was a weird pick. But now it kind of brings the whole team together to me, because you got these breakers like a Terra Chiyu, Terra Iron Hands, a Kieran Black. You get these things in with the Shed Tail on it. Yikes! A substitute, yikes! You don't want to be fighting these mons with there's a substitute up and they can just hit you for free. Because let's be honest, they're not very fast. His fastest mod is a 121 Cyclozar. Is Cyclozar really a fast mod? Not really. It doesn't hit that hard. So I don't think it has that much power in its speed. So you're kind of left with Gengar and Chiyu being your fastest mons. And don't get me wrong, Gengar is pretty fast at 110, but 100 is medium fast. It's not gonna sprint down your team. The Chiyu isn't lightning fast here. So I don't know. I like the pivots. I like the way to get the carries in. It's pretty good. I really like the Cricket too. But the Torterra could pick up a random win with a Cell Mass. I don't know. I feel like it's not a super depth heavy team, right? It's really 7 Mons and a Torterra. Maybe you throw in a Volbeat for a specific matchup. But I think it has the potential to take over. And I think I want to hear what Pluto thinks on how his team is going to pop off. But he's actually 7th in the power ranking, so maybe he's going to get 9th because he's inverse in the power ranking.
Yeah, I'm going to just barely miss playoffs. So, okay. Full disclosure, during the draft, I originally had a plan with Glowking on it. And for a while, I was trying to make a trade with Delp happen so that we could, switch it around a little bit so I could get Glowking. And then that kind of fell through because everything that he was every plan he made kept getting sniped the round of, and it was brutal. It was awful. And eventually he was like, hey man, I'm sorry, but I need Glowking so that I have a team by the end of this. And I was like, that's totally valid. I totally get it. Just let me know if you change your mind. And as a result, my low tiers got kind of screwed, but I'm still happy with how they turned out in the end because of Shed Tail Cyclozar. Like you said, it kind of brings the whole team together. In an ideal world, I have Cyclozar with Shed Tail and 5 breakers in the back. And I can just shed out into something that will resist the hit that it's about to take so that the sub stays intact. They set up, in the case of Kieran Black, it uses a scale shot, and then Kieran Black, wins the game. Torterra has a sub up and uses Shell Smash, and then Torterra wins the game. Cyclozar passes a sub to Chiyu, so Chiyu gets another free hit in. Cyclozar passes a sub to Iron Hands, so Iron Hands can set up a little bit, maybe take a hit, something like that. And then something that I think will come into play a lot just because of my playstyle is Corv and Slowking being a very good defensive pivot team, and Volbeat I will probably not be using often, but it does get Prankster Encore, so things can't set up in return.
Right.
It has Prankster Tailwind, so I can just give an immediate boost to Chiyu or Black Kyurem or Gengar if I wanted. So there's a lot of facilitation here. There's a lot of mons that facilitate hyper offense, which is a playstyle that I'm not super familiar with, but I used it in PGP and I'm trying to get better at expanding my horizons, and I figured it'd be a good time when I have the pack of Shed Tail Cyclozar.
Do you think you're too reliant on the Cyclozar thing? I mean, I know you have Corviknight and Slowking there for pivot, but
I think Cyclozar certainly helps, but I don't think the team is bad without Cyclozar. I think Cyclozar is very expensive and it costs some points, but that really made my low tiers suffer, not the mid tiers. and the like high to mid tiers are still a really good core. It's just that they're bolstered even further by the and Volbeat had to come because I spent so much on the Cyclozar.
He broke the bank.
Broke the bank on that lizard.
All right. Well, I think we spent a lot of time here, so let's say goodbye to Pluto. Let's say hello, Yoo-hoo, it's Yahoodles, and he's at number 6.
Is that a thing I hear?
I don't know, guys. I've heard Hearthflame takes lives, so I guess Pierre's probably not the person to toss to. So let's toss to Pluto again.
Hard pass, yeah. Explain this to me.
I've also heard that Hearthflame takes lives. So like the thing, Pierre, because you do not know Ogrepon, I'm going to talk directly to you, and thus inform the audience through osmosis.
But we're listening intently. Please share.
There are 4 Ogrepon forums, and when they Terra, they all turn into their secondary type, with the exception of the pure grass one because that just stays grass. But in addition to gaining that typing, they also get a stat boost. The grass one gets a speed boost. The rock one gets a defense boost. The water one gets a special defense boost. And then the fire one gets an attack boost, which is massive. Because not only does it have that, like, after it terras, I'm fairly certain it gets it again when it switches back in, which is wild because that's just a free choice band. On a fire and grass type, which is a very solid combo that's resisted by dragon and fire. Hey, what are the next 2 picks? Garchomp and Azumarill? Your dragon and fire checks? That's crazy. I think after that, it kind of gets kind of muddled for me what this team's game plan is. I mean, Uxie is very solid. It's a very nice, like, catch-all wall. Hawlucha without terrain does not click for me, but I get that Unburden is not terrain only. Iron Crown with Terra seems like a strong special attacker. And then I think everything below Muck is bait. I think Avalugg kind of has something to do, but I don't think Vigavolt or Duraludon are eating at all. And then Alolan Muck is, you know, your grounded poison and your dark type. So I think it's a very like well-rounded team. I think it really relies heavily on the top 3, maybe 4 to like get stuff done. But there's certainly a top 3, maybe 4 that can get stuff done. So I think it's a very solid like team overall.
Do you think it has weird synergy at all, or what do you think of speed?
I think the speed is a little questionable because it's pretty low, but I think the fact that Hearthflame and Garchomp are 2 of the faster mons on this team works because the trio of Hearthflame, Garchomp, Azumarill is a fantastic offensive like trio here. And then if you're ever out of position, just go into Uxie because it can handle the hit. That's kind of my thinking.
Yeah, and it can Healing Wish too if you need it to.
Mm-hmm. And it actually has Pain Split now too, so it can heal itself.
Oh, really? Wow, that's actually kind of big for Uxie, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I kind of rank this team low, so I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it down. I'll be so for reference. I rated this 11th. Pluto rated this 7th, and Pierre rated 8th, and then Tbug was really high in this team at 3rd. But we don't have him here, so I'm just gonna roast Yahoodles because Crash Gang, Crash Gang, Crash Gang. Anywho, he I don't know. I felt like the top 3 are cool mons. Like they seem like they're pretty good, but like, once again like the removal on this team? Is it just Lucha and Avalugg? Like I don't think Lucha wants to defog. Avalugg doesn't. I don't like Avalugg. I think Avalugg's fake, and it's not even Terra Avalugg, so I can't even defend it. I don't even know if Terra Avalugg is defendable. So I'm not like super hyped on this team, but it has a lot of things like going for it. It's got webs. It's got this terrifying Hearthflame, Ogrepon, and some Garchomp Azumarill breaking power, which you might notice is all like physical breaking, but you know there's special power in there. You know you got the Duraludon, the Iron Crown, and the Vigavolt coming through for the low special power to really like kind of prevent people from just running physical walls versus this team. It's not like a lot of like pivoting happening in this team. It's like we're going fast, straight offense. So maybe it works, maybe it's strong. I think it definitely has potential, but I didn't see it when I was making my rankings. Elevated, are you here to?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't. Like, this is the thing. This team would be like so valid. Team would probably be like my number one team if they didn't draft Iron Crown, Vico, Voldur, and Avalok. I feel like with those points they really could have drafted something really else. Like Muck Alola is like it's like whatever. It's not really a poison as much anymore, and I really feel like you don't really need it. But like at the same time, I kind of would have liked normal Muck. But at the same time, that top five, I honestly like Lucha as removal, unironically, because I remember watching 100p in like the smoke on seasonal last year. They ran like a Rouge defog, close combat U-turn, Lucha, and it was checking a lot of things. Lucha unironically has like a not it doesn't have a bad defensive typing, especially as like it is neutral to rocks. It's like one of the few birds that's neutral to rocks. It has all that like different utilities. You can run offensive, you can run defensive, you can run pivot, you can run bandit, you can run scarf. You can run it all honestly, and it's just like granted there is always better mons at the end. I don't honestly would have rated this team like probably I would have rated this team like fourth honestly because I just really like the top uh five like a lot. It's definitely up there for me personally.
That's interesting
I
because, like, I think the special ones kind of like add for me to put it higher, but I guess I don't really like it closing either because I would have liked something like I don't know more Uxie like to close it, and maybe only one of the special ones.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I kind of like the synergy looking at it with like the Muck and Iron Crown being weak to ground, and then you got like the two levitators in the Hawlucha, like the synergy of switching around and stuff. And I'm a huge fan of Muckalilla. Like I love it, only having the one weakness, being able to like lure things in for certain pivots and stuff, especially the Uxie. So I kind of do like that. And you guys mentioned it too, like Hawlucha on Burden is fine. Like you can run Whiter, Sky Attack, or whatever, and get it broken or whatever you need to. So I do kind of like it.
All right. Well, I think that's it for your hoodles. But I think I'm gonna need some help, guys. I need some help with Delp because I rated this team high. Tbug rated this team high, but you guys rated it low. You guys have him at 12, and Tbug and I have we both had Delp at second, but I guess Tbug rated himself first, so Delp went up the first. So I cut that because it was like just so we have
All right,
less
I'll
bias.
do the hot take first. I'll do the
Okay.
hot take first. I just think Torn T is like the best pivot in the meta, and he's tearing it to make it super offensive. So I just don't like it. However, I will back that up. I love the Caesar Terra. Huge fan.
All right. I agree. I really like I like the regen core. I don't know if you needed the Terra the Torn. Like maybe you should Terra cure him, but I mean Torn can sweep in its own right, and you can now I guess not miss Blink One Storm or Hurricane, and I kind of liked it because like it had these like strong offensive like sweepers and like a nice bulk around it that can kind of like pivot up. You even have a wish to bring things back, and it's not like you're lacking in power with this team because like Torn can hit hard, Kirim can hit hard, Rotom can hit hard. You can run like a banded Lycanroc. It's not Tough Claws. It's not like Dusk, but it's still strong. And I feel like this team has the ability to wear teams down and take control of the game to the point where Kirim and Scizor, or maybe even Torn T, can win the game.
Yeah, this is probably the bulkiest team we've ranked so far, right? I would say so.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you
I think.
said, yeah, like it just absorbs pretty much everything. I mean, a lot in this offensive meta that we have, and yeah, with the pivots and stuff, get around priority, like it can do some damage.
My
Yeah, I
concern,
like it. I rank it high.
my concern actually lies in that like bulkiness. It's
Yeah.
super tanky, like Tinglu, Glowking, Torn to an extent, Vaporeon. They're all very like bulk. I mean, Torn's not, but like Ting, Vape, Glowking, they're all very bulky. They're not super like active. Torn is very active. It's part of the regen core. But I don't think regen. I don't think Torn Glowking works in Gen 9. I think that's one of those like, it's still like fine because it carried over from Gen 8, but it doesn't do what it did in Gen 8. And I think all of us still kind of have that like, oh, it's Torn Glowking. It's the best core in the game. Even though we know it's not the best core, like some lizard brain part of ourselves is still like, yeah, Torn Glowking is a good core. But with how power crept Gen 9 is and how strong everything is, it actually like gets whittled down really fast. I did a little analysis a little while ago. Essentially, the reason Torn Glow-King works is that Torn takes one hit and threatens with offense, so the things need to switch in front of it, and then it pivots out. And then Glow-King is bulky enough to eat anything and fire back with something, and then leave. Especially like AV sets. And my concern in Gen 9 is that Torn can't really eat that hit anymore, and Glow-King not being able to like switch back and forth as easily because you might want to leave it into chilly reception, especially with this team, is eating more hits than you want it to eat, which means that it's HP, and it's not going to be able to heal as much. Tinglu, Orion, very passive. Tinglu is like, it's still got a strong offense, but it's got such a huge pool of HP that like Vaporeon and Wishes are not even healing 50% on it, so it's not even like worth. Terra Scizor I think is fire. I love that. I love Terra Scizor. It's so cool.
Agreed.
Rotom Heat, funnily enough, the mon that I have the least, I've had the historically worst record with in all of draft. It's gotten like a couple kills and died so much, but it fills an important niche, and I love that. And then I don't think Lycanroc is a Pokemon.
Lycanroc is a real Pokemon. It's so real. It's so real.
Dusk works, but like Midday is not.
It's still got 115 base attack, 112 speed. It's got a Telerock. It has priority. It has SD. It's slightly worse. It's not getting the same damage thresholds, but it's still strong.
Yeah.
Midday is
Slightly. Slightly.
I just want to touch on Pluto's point about the regen core. Like, I feel like the other defensive pivots it has just cover the weaknesses so well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Guizing and the can like absorb the hits. Vape can heal.
Yeah.
So the regen isn't hard carrying the defensive backbone like you see
Exactly.
Torn Glow-King teams. Also, chilly reception into Kyurem was something that Delp and I talked about during the drafting phase, and I'm so happy to see it come through because I think it is awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be sweet to see for sure. If he can get it off, that's gonna be the one down point. But I think he can.
I'm a Blizzard Kyurem believer.
Blizzard Kyurem believer. Woo! All right, that's ice cold for me. But I don't know. I feel like we got a kind of a mishmash of opinions here. So let's move on to mishmeshseph, number 4. And I mean, I'll take it away from the beginning. This team, when you got a Dragapult or Shifu single Iron Moth like top 3, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty strong. Those are like 3 of the best mods in the format. Like, especially if you're thinking like, I think we've talked about this before, like Pluto and I did last season. But like getting the Pult Shifu in like one like draft, like it's like 2 of the strongest mods from Gen 8 and now they're in Gen 9. And of course we've been saying there's been like a power creep and all. But I think this is a pretty strong start to the team. However, I don't really like how it winds down. I guess this team, for me, I rated it 3rd, but like, just because like the top 3 are stronger, and I felt like there's a lot of teams that just ended up being like worse than it in my eyes, I guess. So I just kind of ended up at 3. But it's got really no glaring weaknesses, and you can, and its whole plan is basically like, we're gonna screens key and send it. Like, I don't know what the back half of the mons are doing. I'm not really sure. And if I'm gonna like call it another like a flaw to it, like default cleaver is not real hazard removal. Trust me, I've been there. I used it like MLP season 18. You can watch the fucking 8 games that I played. It's not it. I never ran it. You can't run it. I like cleaver as a mod, but it can't be your hazard removal.
It might be a hot take, but I think Cleaver might be setting rocks, guys.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's fine though.
Yeah, I think the game plan is Cleaver sets rocks, Klefki comes in, clicks the spikes button and the screens button, and then you go into Pult Shifu Moth, and you try and delete your opponent's team, and then if that doesn't work, then you hope that you've deleted enough that you don't lose the game. And I think that's the thing, right? Is that like the top 3 are crazy. Swampert is a great pivot now. It has knock too, which is nice. Rilla is always nice. Cleaver's set, Klefki's set, Kilowattrel is a solid Pokemon, and then Vigoroth hits the 9-point limit. Like, this is an 8-mon team, and there's nothing that Vigoroth is doing here.
Vigoroth is the ghost check.
I suppose.
It's not beating Spectre.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm looking at this team. If Klefki and Cleaver was like if Klefki was like a Yuxi and Cleaver was like a spike setter, I honestly would put this team at first undebatably. I'm like keeping it. This is probably my most favorite team. Like I'm looking like that now that I'm looking at it. If there's a Yuxi over Klefki and there's a different spike setter, and like Cleaver was like a steel type, this team was just like dominant. I would actually love this team with a passion because it's just like. Swampert actually honestly also on this dock it doesn't show that Swampert has rocks, but Swampert has rocks, so it's
The dock is lying.
It's clicking flip turn, it's clicking knockoff, it's clicking all these different moves. It can bulk up, it can high house. It's not clicking earthquake, it's clicking higher horsepower. So that's one thing you can miss. So it's like, ooh, but Rillaboom with the priority, Dragapult with the enabling of the Earthshaker single strike, and the Iron Moth possible end game. You don't even need to Terra half the times. This is a good Scarfer, because this team would need a really good Scarfer. I don't think Cleaver is really coming to a game unless it's like they can't swap into rock types, period. But other than that, I actually genuinely love this team. So it's just watch out for Akurum, and yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think this is the purest form of hyper offense because it's got the hazards, it's got the screens, it's got the really strong offense, it's got the no defense. Swampert is your best switch into most things, and that thing is going to get whittled down quite quick because like it's not like one of those mons like Hisui and Gudra like we saw in Slick's team, where you can switch it into like neutral hits and it'll like be all right, it'll be fine. Swampert is bulky and it'll probably get 3-hit KO'd by neutral hits, but that takes a lot of investment that you won't want to put into defense. And if it needs to fill that defensive role, it means that your hyper offense is not hyper offensing. And I think that this team is a very, very, very solid 8 mons. It's just a matter of if the game plan falls through, it's got no backup plan.
Just to add to that, it's got the Volt turn too. Maybe a hair slow, no priority, other than the Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I mean, the game plan is solid. It's just if it doesn't work, then you're screwed.
I mean, I like the turn, guys. I like to turn, but I don't know. Maybe we can turn into knocking some of these things down. Nick, he's got a lot of strong things to knock things down. But Ken, we ZebstrikemDown, number 3. This team, I honestly surprised we ended up pretty high. I thought it was like a good team, but I didn't think it was like. I thought it was like a top 8 team, but I didn't think it was like a top 3 team. So
I know we said Cricketune was the MVP, but come on, Zebstrike Terra.
Zebstrike Terra is so real. He's so real for this one. So.
IMO, the team is good. The player sucks though. So like this.
Oh my god! We don't talk about the play. We don't talk about the player. In the PR.
Strictly about the teams.
I'm really let him know. I'm really let him know. Honestly though, here I really do like this team. I'm not really a fan of like your grass being neutral to earthquake.
True.
I'm not really a fan of that. It's just like this team seems so earth weak outside of like Mesprit and Zapdos Galar, and I feel like there's enough ground types that can hit those two now. So it's like
and the Latios
like,
Levitate, bro.
That Latios is not swapping in. It's gonna set up. Like okay, so like say a Gliscor comes in, it's not swapping on Gliscor. It's just not swapping on the Gliscor. The Gliscor is gonna click toxic, and you're gonna be like, no, my Latias is my Latias is poisoned. No, what do I do? And you're just like, there's nothing you can do. It's just like
Carnage.
you're good.
Just carnage, yeah.
But other than that, I really do like this team. It's just the player sucks though. So I mean, it'll be fine.
Wow. I mean, I like Chempao. Chempao is the GOAT of Gen 9, I think. So. I think it's like maybe he doesn't have the results, and I'm just wrong here. But like it's such a strong offensive mon, and I just felt like this team that like it's kind of like a weird balanced offense. Like you have like the great offense with the Chempao, and you got the Latios to sweep, and you got Primarina to break, Zapdos to break. And then you got some nice bulk, and Treads can do weird things. It can break, it can not, it can sweep, it can do whatever you want. I like Treads. I'm a big Treads defender. And you got the Snorlax and Mesprit to pivot around a little bit. And I really don't know why Vileplume's on this team. Not quite sure. When you're already going to draft Quillfish afterwards. And remember, guys, this is the real Quillfish. I put the fake Quillfish. There's a pursuing Quillfish that looked like real Quillfish. This is the real Quillfish. And I don't know if you really need a Vileplume on top of this. Like, I don't think it's adding anything. But I at the end of the day, like, I don't know. It just felt like a strong, kind of like balanced offense team in my brain. And that's why I ranked it at 7th. So I'm not even the highest. The highest are Pluto and Pierre. So let's hear from them. Pluto.
Yeah.
Or Pierre.
Doesn't matter, man. Just very balanced. I like the Vileplume on this team. You know, you can scare some things out with Strength Sap and stuff, and it can recover. And I like the Prim. We've gone through quite a few teams that are just weak to like Fairy spam, Moonblast spam. So I really love the breaking power of the Prim. I think it's gonna set up nicely for like Chen Pao or Latios to do its thing. And I like the speed. And let's be honest, Terra Zebstrika is going to be coming every game, not the Terra Latios. So it doesn't care if it gets toxic. Easy.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Yeah, on my end, I look at this team and I say, okay, so there's a lot of mons with really good versatility, like Latios and Treads and Mesprit. And then there's a lot of mons that don't need to deal with versatility because they're just really good at doing one thing, like Chen Pao and Zapdos. And Primarina, I love Primarina. It's my all-time kill leader. It's a fantastic Pokemon. And as you enter the lower tiers, right, you got Snorlax, which is just kind of like the defensive piece for this team because, like, besides Latios, if you want to run offensive Latios, you're going to need to, like, add something else defensively because Chen Pao is not doing that, you know? So Snorlax is your ghost resist. It's your, like, big, thick man. It's your large, expansive man. And you have Quillfish and Vileplume for, like, your grounded poisons. You can run the water one or the grass one, whichever one you prefer, and you can get spikes out of it. And then Zebstrika is a mascot pick. I don't think it's bad because it's, like, I think it's a solid mon in Gen 9 because of Terra. It can really take advantage of that to improve its coverage. I just really like the versatility of this team, and the parts that are versatile, like, support the pieces that don't move, like Zapdos and Chen Pao, because those are doing one thing constantly, and they're really good at it. And the pieces around them can change based on the matchup. So I think that this is one of those that, like, the adaptability is what sets it apart for me.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty flexible team. I kind of like that as well. I couldn't put my finger on the succinct words that you have used to describe it, but that's just how I felt about it. I looked at this team and I was like, this is a good team. Like, you just know. But let's go to a gentleman who who knows how to make good teams. It's GentlemanThomas at number 2. With a sand team, I love sand, but I'll toss it over to Pierre as a long-time Thomas worker with. Yep.
If it weren't for memes, I probably would have put his team first. Just being totally truthful. Sorry, Tbug. This team is probably the most balanced we've seen. It's got offense, it's got defense. Love the sand, like you said, like the speed control and just like the synergy it brings in general, because you can, like, there's a couple other weather teams in this league, like a couple of chilling rain teams that we talked about, and then I think the next team we're going to talk about has sun for photosynthesis. So, like, just being able to, like, disrupt that is, like, super cool. The speed tiers are great. It's got, you know, a little bit of recovery. The Meowscarda can do tons of things. Pivot, can put up spikes and stuff, toxic spikes. You can whittle teams down. The only mon that I do have an issue with, and Thomas will know this, I really don't like his Milotic. I feel like that's the only passive mon he has on the team, but you need it. So I totally get why it's there. But yeah, I just think this team is really good all around. Pluto, what do you think?
Yeah, so this was actually my number 1 pick. When it came to the PRs, I put this one at number 1 because of one mon in particular, and it's that Terra Excadrill. Because the lack of the existence of a fairy ground type is something that I've really noted, and a friend of mine pointed out to me that, like, what types resist fairy? There's your poisons and there's your steals, and those are both weak to ground. So Excadrill, being Terra Fairy, comes in with Stab Earthquake and Stab Fairy Terra Blast in sand with whatever boosts a normal Excadrill would have. And that's terrifying because that means that it's hitting pretty much everything neutrally with the exceptions of like your Bronzong. Which like at that point it just will run a different Terra and be okay. Because Excadrill's like the only thing stopping it is like a lack of coverage in like what really matters. And it having that support to like just run a train is ridiculous. And Palmont can just bring something back to life. So even if your Milotic does get chipped down, it can come back. And your is there to like hit things hard with Protean, and Latios is there because Latios is crazy in this gen because it has Flip Turn for some reason. Why does it have that? Enam T works very well on sand because of Overcoat, and then Muck is your grounded poison because it's a good mon. I really like this team. I think it works really well with the other pieces that are moving on it. But the big standout one is that Terra Excadrill for me because it can just do whatever it wants and it'll work.
Yeah, and I like the Skeledirge too. Don't have to tear it. I mean, that's a fairy resist as well.
I'm big on tearing Skeletors. I don't know, because I really like Terra Excadrill. That thing's so broken offensively. It's just Edgequake. You have Bolt Beam, Physical. Like that's like just so strong. Honestly, I have no complaints with this team. It's just mainly it's just strong. It's honestly just strong. I probably would have put my Terra on a Nam or something because it's just like. Skeletors. It's a secondary Terra, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Escadrilles will still operate without Terra. Also, really random. You know, like before we started this video, right? We were talking about how Tbug is asleep, right? He just woke up. Quite literally, Volume said if he like randomly pops in when we get to the very last one, that'd be funny. He might just. So I just wanted
I
to
love
let the
that.
viewers know that you might be expecting a very random Tbug entrance, but
Stay
I guess.
tuned. Stay tuned.
Someone get in the chat. I'll try to stall for him, guys. Let me get my thoughts on Thomas. I really like this team too. Unless you have more to say, Elevated, but
Honestly, it's just I liked it. It's just I don't really know too much about like the fighting resist is gonna do for you, because just like Skeletors, I guess, Latios, I guess as well. But a lot of these fighting types do carry like dark type and poison type coverage nowadays. So it's just like it's kind of harder to really do that nowadays. Milotic, I don't remember if it has Scald. It probably does if there was drafted, but yeah, I'm not hating on this team. This team's nice. I like it.
Yeah, I think the typing defensively is pretty good. He has some things that he can switch around, like you said, to the ground weakness. He's got the Latios. I think it's fine, personally.
yeah, I like this team. I didn't put it as high. I put it fourth. I don't know. Like I looked at it, and in my brain, there's like something's missing, and I don't know if maybe I'm just juiced here because a lot of the times I look at a team and I'm like, this doesn't seem as good, but I don't have a great reason for it. So that might mean that I'm not qualified to make power ranking videos, but I've done it for this fourth season of Attack, so come at me in the comments. I think it's a really good team though, and it's got I really like Sand. I really like the Latios Masquerada, like the speed on that, and I think Masquerada really balances, can really do like a lot in terms of like weakening teams pivoting around, and it kind of needs it to pivot because he doesn't really have the greatest pivots outside of it. But the reason I guess why I ended up not liking this team as much is that I was like, what is this Anamorous Therian gonna do? Because I feel like it's rather important to the team, being the fairy type, and like. You got Latios teaming ground, but like Latios gets hit by a lot of random shit because it's Dragon Psychic, and you got just Anamorous and the resist from Masquerada, but Masquerada isn't gonna like want to take a ground type attack, and it might be Protean out of it. So I don't know if like the Anamorous is gonna hold up, and it's also like this high special attacking mon. And don't get me wrong, like Torchong, Skeledirge, strong as hell, Latios, strong as hell. Also, I guess Latios is only a little bit weaker. The the stats are a bit messed up. I messed up when I added Latios to the sheet. So, but I don't know. I mean, I was like, I'm not really sure what Anamorous is gonna do, and I guess that dropped it for me. But I don't think I can take too much more away from this. There's some rumbling in the distance. I think I might hear some thunder. Will the bug show up? I don't know. Let's talk about Tbug, Thunderbug, #1 draft. He could have been on here to sing his praises. Maybe he will, but we only have so much time. So I'll leave it to I don't know. Let's toss it to Pluto, because Pluto was not the highest on this team compared to some of us on this power rankings video.
I'm right here.
Hey,
Oh my
guys.
God! I couldn't hear that he joined.
Who's that?
Oh, yeah,
He's here.
It's a bird. It's a plane. Is that Thunderbug?
It's Thunderbug. Oh my God! All right. Well, we got Tbug, and I think we'll have Tbug after we like go on his team. He'll come out and close it on his team, like we did with Pluto. But I think I'll start with Pluto on this team.
Okay. Well, first of all, have you ever heard of an ability called photosynthesis? Because I have.
I have not. Can you inform us of that, please?
In the sun, you get a life orb boost or a speed boost by 1 stage, and it's pretty cool. This is a very dedicated sun team, and also Ninetales Alola. It's very funny. I think this team works very well, with the exception of the Gligar, which I don't see doing literally anything over the course of the entire season because it doesn't have Roost. I think this team works. I think it's just hard to look at Torkoal directly next to Ninetales in the layout right now because it feels so wrong to have Sun and Snow. But the actual thing that's going to happen is like Snow so that you can set Aurora Veil and then also like set the Sun for everything else. And like maybe you just won't even set the Sun for everything else with the exception of Wake. The like photosynthesis mons don't even really need it, so you can really get away with like Aurora Veil, gouging fire, dragon dancing on you like Terra. I think that'll work perfectly fine. So I think it definitely has potential. I just think looking at Torkoal next to Ninetales is incredibly glaring, and since I did my rankings in like half an hour. I think it stuck out more to me then than actually thinking about Aurora Veil offense what this team does now.
Well,
And you didn't even mention the MVP, Victory Bell Terra.
the Terra Victory Bell. I mean,
In the sun? Like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Bro, it can switch into things now.
let's toss it to Pierre and see if he has.
Yeah, dude, just going off the Victory Bell and the Sun, man, I love it. I think you nailed it. Bring the tails in, maybe wall break something, set the veil, and then let the main mons do their thing. Photosynthesis and the one chlorophyll mon. You figure out whichever one you need to win the game, and then you can do it. I love the Ditto too. I feel like the Ditto goes under the radar. I don't know how it's only 3 points, especially in this like super offensive meta in this league. Like you can just like scout things, you can copy things. If someone has a mon that can 6-0 you, you just copy it with a scarf, and like all of a sudden you can't. So I really love the Ditto. And then the Trick Room. I mean, he's got a conch there too that we haven't talked about. You get the priority with the Mach Punch. You can flip the speed script if you have to. Like the team just has so many different ways to like beat you. And I know Tbug. I know we shouldn't talk about the coach, but he's super creative. Like I know he can just like mold to whatever he needs to every game. And then I mean, he threw a Roaring Moon on here for like shits and giggles. I feel like if he can't beat you with everything else, like he has a Roaring Moon to just like set up in your face and kill you. So, dude, this team is like broken as fuck. I just love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this team. I looked at it, I was like, am I really going to put this number 1? I was like, all right, this is my favorite team so far. And then I looked at every other team, and I just didn't put another team above it. And it's like, I just love it. I love the Veil. I love you could fucking with weather. It's so funny. I like Screamtail. Screamtail's such a good like Gloomon, like Bronzong that like ties things together. Like Pierre said, Ditto can prevent you from getting swept. You got a whole bunch of offensive dragons or like Sunmons to like try to top it off and like just murder things. And you got the Conkeldurr, Which I mean, I was talking with Tbug while he was drafting. He was like going through a couple plans that he wanted to do. Like he was initially gonna have Venusaur, but he didn't really want to have Girder, and like he had like some variations. He'll go into it maybe. And he ends up settling on the Terra Victory Bell. And honestly, I kind of like the way it is. It's so good. It looks like just such a nightmare to prep against. Like absolute nightmare to prep against. But before we go to Tbug, I'll let Elevated say, because Elevated is the only person who didn't rank these teams. So I wonder what his opinion is on this team.
Hot take. Roaring Moon is better than Chi-Yu, objectively. Okay, let me get that out of the way. First of all, Victory Bell, that's broken. Okay, like let's keep it a buck. Victory Bell is clearly the carry of this team. Gouging Fire, who the hell is that? That guy is not doing a damn thing. This Gligar is not coming to a single game. I agree with Pluto on that. This thing is just. If it was a King Gambit on this team, I could understand because this guy is just dying. He's gonna get up a spike and die. It's like
He had to
Samurai
round out
Sui.
the roster, full roster, man.
Yeah.
He had to round it out.
I've never been too fond of dual weathers, but Tbug has always been like cracked off the sticks, so it's like I kind of expect this to work out somehow. Like when Tbug builds, you kind of just like watch in awe as you think someone who has just been birthed play the game, but it makes sense. It's a weird explanation, but honestly, I'd rate this team like top five. I like this team.
All right, Tbug. Yeah. It's your time. we've all sung your praises. You're the number one team. You slept through power rankings, Pacific time gap. What do you have to say for yourself now that you've been crowned number one team of the attack division in our power rankings?
So first, I swear I slept through power rankings. I did not totally just wait until it was my team to come up and talk about it. I swear. Dual Weather Gligar sucks, but it's also a 2-point Gligar and there was nothing else to do with it. It's just slow, it got U-turn, whatever. It just kind of fit what I needed at the time. And, yeah, everyone else kind of pretty much hit everything already. I'm not the biggest Victory Bell guy. It was to get further than Venus so I can get some other fun toys. Removal's kind of sus, but that's the entire generation. And, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there because I'm not going to get too into it. I slept through the entire PR.
It's fine. For reference, it's like 8 a.m. It's not even 8 a.m. yet for Tbug. It's not even 8 a.m. So it happens. We were trying to get us together so we could do this power ranking. We got 4 out of 5, and Tbug came to close it out. But I don't know. I felt like this is pretty fun, and I hope that when you watch a power rankings video, you're not going in like ooh, I kind of want to see what people think of my team. But at the end of the day, what you think of your team and what you can do with your team matters a lot more than whatever the fuck we say you can do with your team, because we don't know. We didn't draft your team. So if you think you were robbed in this, let us know. If you think that you want to make some changes, let us know. If you think that we are the GOATs and ranked everything perfectly, let us know. And if you think one of us has the perfect ranking, let us know. So
and smash that like button while you're at it.
Smash that like button.
Love.
I would really appreciate it.
We're here all season, so if you got anything you need from us, just let us know.
Yeah. Anyone else got some closing words, or should we take it out?
ZebstrikemDown sucks, and I think that guy needs to retire immediately.
Oh my God.
So yeah. It's all love, by the way, Zeb. Don't take this seriously. But you're still bad at the game.
Leave a comment. Leave a comment if you want ZebstrikemDown to retire.
Oh my God.
We'll take a poll at the end of this video.
Click the merch in the link description.
The merch, yeah.
Yeah, buy the Crash Gang merch.
Crash Gang.
Win the Crash Gang server.
Yeah.
Tell Bash that he sucks at Ubers, and yeah.
Tell Bash that he sucks. I love you, Bash. Yeah, that's it for us with the attack power rankings. You should catch me, Volume, on a Delta power rankings video. Also, maybe, I don't know when the videos are going to come out, but that should also happen. So I'm doing multiple power rankings there. We'll see how it goes, but I hope you enjoyed the WPF, and I hope you guys like join the server, follow along with the league. I don't know if anyone's uploading, but if they are, check them out, and I'll have their links probably. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this banger of a video, and we will catch you all next time in Season 16 of WPF. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.